Welcome to the Costa Property Podcast, the podcast that turns your dreams of owning a piece of paradise on the Costa del Sol into reality. I'm Warner Laurie, and I'm joined by my co-host and wives, Sandra Laurie.
Join us as we embark on navigating the ins and outs of real estate and relocation to this beautiful region.
We're not just about market trends, we're about sharing real-life experiences, because we know the struggle firsthand, and I've helped many people navigate this challenge also.
If you're dreaming of your perfect Costa del Sol home and want to get real, no-frills, expert advice, then you're absolutely in the right place. Join us each week as we share honest insights and information that will guide your journey. So you're thinking about buying a property in Spain. Amazing, wonderful news. But before you start scrolling property portals, let's talk about the 3 absolute must-dos that will save you stress, time, and money as you begin your search. We've seen it happen, buyers losing out on their dream home because they weren't prepared, thinking that they could just rely on property portals or assuming that they needed to speak to 10 different agents. We do not want that for you. So today, I'm going to break down what you need to do before you start your property search. So flying solo today, guys. Warner's out on tour. We have been blessed that we've started the year off with an incredible bang. The property market over here is absolutely booming. We're seeing an absolute mix when it comes to clients from around the world that are looking to the Costa del Sol as the destination where they want to live or own a second home. They want to have that option of really experiencing that Mediterranean lifestyle and having that option of that second home in the sun, or choosing the Costa del Sol as the destination where they're going to spend their life and raise their families. And you know what? I don't blame them, because there really is no better place in the world to be. Maybe I'm biased, but looking at the property boom this year and the way the trend has been going, I think many other people agree with me. So Warner's out on tour today, and I'm here with you because there's so many new clients coming into our world and into the market here on the Costa del Sol. I really want to talk about some things that I really think that you must do before you start your property search. And I'm going to break it down for you and give you my perspective so that you feel confident and informed. The first thing that I really want to dive into is that when you start your property search, it's very important that you don't just rely on property portals to support your search. Yes, they're a great way to get a gauge, to get a guide of pricing in the market, standard of property in the market, variety, but you should not solely use property portals to completely support your search. And here's why, okay? Often, very exclusive properties don't even make it onto property portals. Or often agents like ourselves at WL Costa Properties list properties, and we know that we already have buyers waiting in the wing for those properties because we've done the due diligence, we've done the work with our clients. And when a very specific property makes its way onto the market, we're able to already connect our buyer with that property, and that property doesn't even make its way to the property portal. So it's important to remember that by solely limiting yourself to looking at property portals, that potentially you're excluding yourselves from having access to properties that an excellent agent may have access to. It's important to stress that point. The second thing that I would say connected to property portals, look, I love them. You know, we use them in our business. We currently advertise our properties on up to 15 different portals. So we know that our properties are getting access to clients that are ready to buy. They're great. But what I will say is that the market's moving so quickly over here that a property could be listed, sold today, and you're browsing and you're not actually seeing the reality in real time. That property may actually already be gone. Things are moving so quickly. The reality and the real time that you're seeing on the property portal isn't always reflected to the reality. So it's important to be mindful of that. There's a lot of duplication on property portals because if a seller decides not to list exclusively with an agent, you may be seeing that same property multiple times. I think it's important to be mindful of that. But I think the key point here is those best properties, some of those really crucial properties, they don't even make it online because they sell before they're listed. That connection of what the buyer wanted and that property that's being listed, that's being done behind the scenes because the agents are already able to know what their client needs and wants. So I think it's important to call that one out. If you want to find the best properties, you really need to work with an agent who has direct access to exclusive properties, but also to stock that will be coming onto the market. They know what's coming up in terms of inventory, and they're able to give you the insider scoop and connect you to that property before it even goes live on the property portals. That's a sweet spot. In my opinion, that's where you want to be. You want to be getting access to those properties first before they even hit the property portals. The second thing I want to touch on is the Costa del Sol market. It might work differently to where you're coming from in the world. If you're used to real estate, which you probably are, the Costa del Sol market may work differently than what you're actually used to. In terms of the agencies over here, calibrate. Okay, there's opportunity to calibrate across agencies. So for example, if we list an exclusive villa, we will work with other agencies who have clients that may be interested in our exclusive villa. So I think that's often new for people. It's a new way of working for people if they haven't experienced that before, particularly if they're coming from maybe the UK, for example, where that type of practice isn't seen. Okay, so I think that's very good about the Costa del Sol. But what that means for you, okay, when you're coming over to buy your property or you're on the ground here and you're ready to purchase your property, don't register your interest with 5 different agents. That's just going to cause complete confusion and mayhem for you. Select one agent that you connect with, that you can see yourself working with, and make that agent represent you and do the hard work on your behalf. When you select that agent will spend time getting to know you, getting to know your requirements, getting to know your needs and wants for your home in Spain, getting to know what's important for your circumstances. For example, if you have family, do you want to be based in an area with access to very good international schools? So you've got a selection for your kids. They will spend time really to get into the psyche of you and what you're looking for from your property. And then they'll do the hard work. They'll do the legwork on your behalf. If they don't have exclusive listings that match your needs, they'll find other properties on the Costa del Sol that will match your needs. And they'll work with other agencies to secure viewings on your behalf and ensure that you get access to a property that will meet your needs. So don't go into this under the illusion that, oh, I need to work with multiple different agents to find the property that I want. That's absolutely not correct. Find an agent that you connect with. Also, what I would say on this point is the Costa del Sol is a large stretch of coastline, okay? There's lots of different towns and locations along the Costa del Sol where people choose to buy properties. From a real estate and an agency point of view, your agent needs to understand the area where you want to buy. They need to be an expert in that space. So let's break this down. So in our world, in WL Costa Properties, we really specialise in Benalmádena, okay? But we operate from a patch of, say, Torremolinos down into La Cala, okay? We don't operate in Estepona, for example, because we just don't have the expertise in that area. So if you are a buyer and you're interested in Estepona, for example, Estepona is your area of choice, find an agent that's an expert in Estepona to support you, because they'll know the nuances of the area and they'll be really able to guide you and navigate you in the right direction in terms of where you want to be. If you pick an agent or an agency that's not specialising or doesn't have that expert knowledge for the area that you're specifically looking for. They won't have the scoop. They won't have the lowdown. They won't be able to discuss specific areas within that town that may be very suitable to your needs. So it's important to bear that in mind. When you're kind of clear on the area that you want to be in, find an agent or an agency that specialises in those locations. And when you're going to come to Benamadna, obviously you're going to work with us, okay? Benamadna experts. We have phenomenal inventory in Benamadna, from investment properties to luxury villas. Whatever you want, we have it. But if you were going to say, as I said in the example, you're interested in Estepona, well, we're not going to be the match for you, okay? And we're going to ask you, we're going to direct you to an agent in Estepona that could potentially suit your needs better. Estepona is just an example. But I think it's super important to bear that in mind. So choosing one agent is absolutely key. You want to keep this as simple as possible. You want to have one point of contact that you've been able to train and download all your wants and needs to. And that person then is going to go off and do their due diligence on your behalf, feeding back to you with regular communication updates, giving you that type of service, that premium service that you're expecting. It's going to be incredibly laborious and time consuming for you if you're going to have multiple agents out there working on your behalf. You're going to have to split yourself multiple times to get those updates. One agent, it's key, it's crucial. Keep it simple. Because it goes without saying, a great agent does so much more than just finding you a property. They simplify the process for you. They save you time, and they make sure that you're getting the best possible service and the best property out there for you. Now, I sound a bit preachy, but I think there's a lot here that I want to download to you, particularly if you're in that stage or you're searching for your property. I think there's some good nuggets of information here that I want to share with you, because these are common mistakes that I just see people making, and I don't want that for you. The last thing I'm going to touch on, because I'm keeping this one brief, is knowing your numbers before you start. Now, I know that this seems so obvious to you, okay? I know that this seems super obvious. I need to know my numbers. Yes, obviously, I need to know how much disposable income I have here. I need to know how much I can spend. But you would be shocked at the amount of clients that come to us and don't really have that insight, real detailed information of how much their property in Spain is going to cost them, okay? The property listed price is not going to be the final amount that you pay. You have to factor in different components into your sale, and you need to build them into your budget. It's very important. Often people come ill prepared with this, and they find the property that they want. They go back then afterwards to take their time to start sieving through the numbers, and they realise they can't have what they want. They may need to then sacrifice some elements of their property search, like downgrading from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, or becoming further away from the sea, or, they may need to compromise a pool in their development in order to satisfy their dream of having an apartment in Spain, because they haven't done their numbers right to begin with. And that breaks my heart personally every time I see that, because it's such an avoidable piece, okay? It's something that we can get right very early on, even before you engage with an agent, so that you have full clarity and transparency when it comes to your own budget and your own numbers. It's a step that too many buyers skip. They get excited, which is natural. They start looking at properties, then to realise that they really don't actually have a very clear picture of their budget, and they don't have their budget fully worked out. And by the time they do, the home that they had their eyes on is gone. You need to know your full budget up front, including taxes, fees, financing options, understand if you need a mortgage or not. Otherwise, you will end up disappointed. There's no if about it. You will end up disappointed. Or worse, you'll waste your time looking at properties that you can't actually buy. And that's so disheartening. It's so disheartening. So what I'd like you to do is, if this is resonating with you and you're sitting at home and going, actually, I need to go back to basics on my numbers. I need to spend an extra hour really getting to grips on my budget and analysing what is my spend, and really assessing, doing a sanity check on, do you know your numbers? I'd like you to download our budget calculator. I'd like you to work out what your actual buying power is. What do you actually need in order to score your dream property in Spain? I'd also like you to check out the mortgage section of our website if you need finance. Get pre-approved with our trusted partners at Habeno Mortgages. Just go in, fill in the information on the website, and you will get pre-approval and understand for your circumstances, for your scenario, what type of mortgage and financing you will get. And it just saves you so much hassle further down the line. Understand the full costs: purchase price, taxes, legal fees, notary fees, and understand the ongoing running costs. So when you've signed for your house, when that property is yours, how much is it going to cost you on an ongoing basis to run that property? Things like community fees. Okay, we've talked about this in previous episodes of the podcast, and we discussed this in detail in our online course, A Roadmap to Buying a Property on the Costa del Sol. You need to familiarise yourself with the monthly concept of community fees. And the more facilities that are in the urbanisation, in the community, in the development where you're purchasing your property, the higher your community costs will be. So if you purchase a property without a pool, for example, if your apartment is in a complex that doesn't have a pool, your community fees will be lower. If you purchase in a complex that doesn't have an elevator or a lift, your community fees will be lower. Now, these are just some basic examples just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Why is all of this so important? Because without understanding your numbers, without having pre-approval of your mortgage, you could lose out to a buyer who is ready. A buyer who has spent the time doing their homework and doing the preparation. You could be losing out. So being financially prepared really gives you leverage when you're negotiating, guys. It's important. It just expedites you. It pushes you forward. Because on the Costa del Sol, remember, we're dealing with limited stock. Okay, for every property out there, there is a lot of interested buyers. So getting ahead, getting that edge, being fast, being prepared, doing your homework, that puts you in a better position when it comes to negotiating. You'll avoid wasting your time looking at homes that don't fit your real budget, and that's so important to understand. So if you're serious about buying, do the financial prep first so that you can move fast when the right property comes along. Okay, I did promise that we'd be quick, but I have a bonus tip for you, so here it is. I just want to re-emphasize the point that I mentioned earlier around local expertise is everything. Like it's everything. It's goals, because that's the expertise that you're paying your agency for. That's the expertise that's going to support you to really nail your requirements and find you that dream property that's perfect for you. That local expertise is gold. So Warner, I can say this about him now because he's not actually here, but if you follow us on Instagram or you follow us on Facebook, he's often been referred to the king of Benamadna when it comes to property. And you know, he's a bit shy. He won't say this, but I'm going to say it for him. You know, that title is actually for a reason. He has deep-rooted connections with Benamadna and knows the area upside down and inside out. That's why he has extensive inventory and gets a lot of exclusive listings. But, you know, less about Warner, but the right agent won't just find you a house, okay? They'll help you find the right area. They'll negotiate the best deal for you, and they'll connect you with trusted advisors like legal teams and mortgage advisors that will also save you time and headache, that will support you on your journey. So why having a local trusted agent in your corner is key. Let's just break this down again for a second. Properties over here are selling within days. In days. The Costa del Sol is a destination where people want to be. It's safe. The lifestyle that it offers is actually sometimes hard to articulate and put into words. So things are moving fast. And every year we say the same thing. Oh my God, it's so busy. The demand for property here is unbelievable. We can't believe what we're seeing. But every year that demand is getting hotter. So we're seeing the property market over here grow every year. Property prices are going up year on year. Demand is becoming higher year on year. The buyer is coming more informed and more astute year on year. They know what they want. So you don't want to be left behind. So having that local expertise and that local knowledge in your corner is going to give you the edge. If you're unsure, someone else is already putting in the offer. Sorry to tell you that. You hesitate, you're losing out. The market is so competitive, so being prepared and having the right agent in your corner is giving you that edge. If you're serious about buying in Spain, don't just browse. Get prepared. Get strategic. Being strategic just means having a good plan, being organised, having your strategy, and be ready to act when the right home appears. And of course, it goes without saying, if you want access to exclusive off-market property listings, expert guidance, and a no-nonsense approach of finding the right property, book a one-to-one consultation with us. We'll personally walk you through your options and make sure that you are set up for success. No time wasting. We don't want that for you. Everything we mentioned, our budget calculator, mortgage pre-approval, how to book a call with Warner, can be found on our website, www.wlcostaproperties.net. So don't just dream about it. Take the first step now and let's make it happen. Ciao for now. Thank you so much for listening into today's episode on the Costa Property Podcast. Another fantastic episode learning about the highs and lows of relocating to the Costa del Sol from real people who have been through the journey themselves, and of course our wonderful experts. If you have been enjoying the show so far, remember to hit subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating or review.
We absolutely love hearing your thoughts. Please send any questions that you would like us to answer on the show to warner@wlcostaproperties.net. Or you can pop us a message on our socials, which are in the show notes. Remember, you can also visit the website, www.wlcostaproperties.net.
See you on the next episode, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.